bicycle. And people, there, we've got one person who knows how to ride a bicycle, 2 people, okay. Those types of things. You can do breakout rooms. Of course, the question and answer. The last one is keepers. I learned this from Darren LaCroix. And during his presentations, he stops every now and then and says, write down your ahas and your action, or your keepers and your actions. And so what struck you? You write that down, and then the action, he says, what are you gonna do? Those are a lot of next steps. Maybe it's go buy the book, or maybe it's take a class, but those are your actions. So those are pace elements. Anytime there's a change, that's a pace element. And then stay on topic. You cannot bring a new subject near the end of your presentation. It has to be the same topic you've always been talking about. Because you're going to confuse your audience. I had a chiropractor who started out with chiropractor, and then she wanted to do herbs at the end. No. That's 2 different speeches. You cannot change the topic on people, or else they'll not follow you. They'll get confused. Their mind can only absorb so much. End on a high note. If you take your audience down, you can't leave them there. And a lot of times it's important to talk about the tough subjects. I was at a speaker showcase, and at the end, the last 2 speakers both spoke about domestic violence. And they took me way down. I heard everything about what happened to them. And they left me there. I felt so beaten up, I felt like I was going to crawl out of the room. You can't leave your audience down there. You have to bring them up. And you might say, well, how can I do that? Well, maybe it's humor. There was one speaker who was talking about his bladder cancer. And then at the end, he mentioned his doctor asked him, because they're going to do surgery, what kind of bladder do you want? He looked at his doctor and says, a bigger one. Now, bladder cancer is not a humorous subject, but he found something to bring the audience back up through humor. So it doesn't have to be humor, but it has to be something. You can't leave them in a low point. And your last words linger. By Patricia Fripp. She, again, is probably the best known speaking coach in the world. Your last words. What are you leaving your audience with? What are those memorable words? What are those words that you want them to go out and say? What are those actions you want them to do? Because in the last words, you should be saying those words. I want each and every one of you to know that you're remarkable. And show your audiences you're remarkable. And also be unforgettable. Last moment, the moment after. You don't want to be running off the stage as soon as you enter your last word. I've seen people do that. They get to the end of the stage, they're gone. It's like, whoa, what happened to that person? No. Stand there, take the applause, let them absorb what you've said. Let them give a moment of thinking. They need to absorb it, to know it, to feel it, so that they can digest it. That's the moment after. And then you walk off. And when you do it that way, you look confident. You look like the expert that you are. Because that's your speech, you're the expert on it. Even if it's just about your life, nobody else has lived your life. Nobody else has the thoughts that you have had. So those last words, don't discount them. They're important too. They're almost as important as the first words, because what are the words people are going to remember most? First words, your last words. So remember, you can be remarkable. And when you are remarkable, nobody will forget you. And Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Thank you. Very impressive.